There have been several warnings. It hasn't just been in recent history, it was over the past several years. When the COVID lockdowns came into full swing, we saw people rush into stores, buy whatever they could. Then we saw supply chain disruption due to the shutdown of our country. It resulted in a major hiccup, which we are not recovering from. But from there, we saw what happens when there are food shortages. In the past few weeks, we have been warned by Joe Biden, by the UN, by many political leaders in Europe, that there will be food shortages and they will get bad. We were warned that there may be a global famine coming. And this is due to a lot of reasons, but it could be due a lot to what's happening with Russia and Ukraine. Of course, there is a fertilizer price increase now that we're experiencing. Exports from Ukraine and Russia into Europe are basically halted. Planting season is in jeopardy in Europe and the United States. And so it is widely speculated we will see major food shortages coming later this year. The big story right now, the image you see on your screen for those watching, is a video coming out of Shanghai where people are screaming, singing, and a drone tells everyone to comply with the new COVID restrictions. I couldn't believe it. When I saw this story, I couldn't believe it. COVID restrictions? What about the war with Russia and Ukraine? And people screaming outside their windows? We've seen this story before. We have. I saw this video of people screaming and the drone warning people, and I thought, this has got to be from 2020. Because I remember this exact same thing happening. So I dug into the archives. I found the old video of people screaming, and sure enough, they are different videos. Several outlets are now reporting on what's happening in Shanghai. They are dealing with very serious food shortages. Man, I hope you guys pay attention and be smart. I don't know exactly what will happen. What I do know is it is not that difficult to get emergency supplies, be it water, food, first aid kit. Download an emergency survival guide onto your phones. You're probably never going to use them. Maybe it won't get as bad here as it is there. But seriously, take it into consideration. I want to play for you this video. I want to show you this article. Shanghai residents scream from windows, get drone lockdown warning. I mean, this stuff is freaky. Here's an image of an empty refrigerator on someone's balcony. And you know, I look at this and I just think, are we being manipulated? Are we being lied to? I don't know, man. All I can say is it is not difficult for you guys to be ready for this stuff. Now, I don't do this often, but I've done it quite a bit in the past few months. Head over to safeandreadymeals.com. They're a sponsor of my work, and I shout them out only when I feel like there's a real reason, a real reminder of why you guys should have some kind of emergency food supply. At safeandreadymeals.com, you can pick up a 3-month emergency food supply, a 4-week emergency food supply. You can get those, they say, last 25 years, 2,000 calories per day. I'll give you my opinion. If it really came down to major food shortages, I don't think you'll be eating 2,000 calories per day. I think you will, first and foremost, you don't eat these emergency food supplies. You save them for when you have no choice. And if you have to source your own food, you do it. For those living in cities, I hope you've just figured out what you're going to do to get out of cities when there's no food or water. But again, safeandreadymeals.com is it's 25-year shelf life food buckets. Pick them up. The buckets are great too. Take this seriously. And of course, this is a sponsored spot for this channel. It does help support our work when you pick this stuff up. Don't be like these people in Shanghai who maybe have no choice. Let me play for you this video right now and you can hear what it sounds like. I got a couple of videos for you. Let's play this one. All right, it's probably hard to hear, but we got to get the audio set up here. We're in the trailer, so I apologize. But you probably can't hear those. It's just haunting. It's absolutely terrifying. The echo from these drones as they're telling people. Shanghai residents scream from windows, get drone lockdown warning. In viral videos on social media, residents in Shanghai, China can be heard screaming from their apartments, while a drone can be seen issuing warnings about COVID-19 restrictions as the country sticks to its strict zero COVID policy amid increase of infections. A video circulating on Twitter shows high-rise buildings in Shanghai at night, with people heard yelling from their windows. Shanghai residents, mad as hell, can't take it anymore. China's zero COVID policy getting dangerous. The video was originally posted by author and radio host Patrick Madrid on Friday and has been viewed nearly 3 million times. What the? This video taken yesterday in Shanghai, China by the father of a close friend of mine. She verified its authenticity. People screaming out of their windows after a week of total lockdown. No leaving your apartment for any reason. A separate video posted earlier in the week shows a drone flying over the city, issuing a warning for city residents to follow COVID restrictions. Shanghai residents go to their balconies to sing and protest lack of supplies. Sing is a strong term. What I heard was shrieking. A drone appears. Please comply with COVID restrictions. Control your soul's desire for freedom. Do not open the window or sing. Alice Su, a journalist for The Economist, wrote on Twitter Wednesday. That video has been viewed 3.4 million times. Shanghai has recently experienced China's largest COVID-19 outbreak, and since late last month has faced lockdowns. Chinese officials have received backlash for the policy, as residents have said they have had to go without basic necessities, including food. A video captured ahead of the lockdown last month showed residents fighting one another for food and supplies in a store. Wow, man. Local residents in Shanghai seen fighting over groceries as half of its 26 million residents are in lockdown and other half entering lockdown soon. Dr. Eric Feigl-Ding, an epidemiologist, wrote on Twitter, "This is March 30th, 2022. We're seeing these videos. Let me play this. You can see in this video people with big bags." Wow. Look at these shelves, man. Completely empty shelves. People fighting over food. Now, what I find really weird about everything that's been going on, they're saying this is due to COVID lockdown? Yo, they just told us a global famine was coming. Are they lying? Probably. Do you think world leaders would come out right now and say, hey, everybody, panic? No. They wouldn't. Do you think they would be honest with you? I don't. If they don't want people to panic. They want people to keep working to the best of their abilities. They want to be able to secure resources for themselves before things get truly bad. Here's what I think. I think that powerful political leaders already have their emergency supplies in bunkers. I think most regular people don't. I think many of these powerful people have friends and family in their extended circles, and they want to make sure those people get access before everyone else. I would imagine well before any of this went down, these powerful leaders went to their friends and said, go buy what you can now. They didn't say it publicly, though. Maybe they didn't, but come on. You really think that somebody who works in the government didn't warn their cousins, their aunts, their uncles, their kids, their kids' friends? Of course they did. It's exactly what you see when you see Nancy Pelosi buy stock, and then all of a sudden some regulation comes out, or any member of Congress or the Senate buys stock, and then, oh, well, there you go. I wonder why they bought all that, because they know what's coming, and you don't. Now, if they're able to buy stocks to make these predictions, don't you think they saw this coming? For all those people who would scream, it's a conspiracy theory, whatever nonsense, I will say it again. If we know they buy stocks with privy to information to make money, why would they not warn their friends and family about pending economic and food crises? Of course they would. That's why I shout at safeandreadymeals.com. I always want to stress it. Dude, I don't expect you guys to create a bunker with 30 years worth of beans or anything like that. You decide for yourselves what you want to do. Watch these videos. I watch them the same as you. Conclusion, Biden said global famine is coming. Or we're worried about it. We've got an article about the looming catastrophe of a global food shortage. This one's talking about Russia. The other one's talking about COVID. They're telling us it's happening. Makes me wonder. It makes me wonder a whole lot. In 2018, I thought Republicans were going to win. I thought they were going to win in Congress. The reason I did was because I didn't know how anyone could read all the news that was coming out about the insanity of this wokeness and the backlash we saw with movies and pop culture. I didn't think you'd take all those cultural circumstances and people would go and vote for Democrats, but they did. In 2020, I thought Trump was going to win because Biden was out of his mind. But I didn't anticipate many on the left would go out and vote for Joe Biden. And I saw it in my own friends. People who never vote, can't name a single thing about politics, voted for Biden, posting videos of themselves doing it. And I thought, wow, man. You'd think that people would be paying attention, wouldn't you? They don't. So then what? Well, people did not pay attention to what was happening all around them. And now we're 4 years after 2018, and now, just maybe, the polling is starting to show that Republicans are probably going to win big. And it is crazy big. But what about food crises? I look at all this. Regular people probably aren't paying attention at all. They're going to the grocery store and they're going, why is my food so expensive? And they're not thinking about it. Some people are. Many people more than others starting to wake up to these crises. But when you see what's happening in China, you know my prediction is? I'd be willing to bet in the coming weeks or months, you will see the exact same thing at these stores. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. And I got to be honest. I don't think it's a guarantee. I'm just saying, let me put it this way. I think there is a decent probability that those kinds of shortages come to the US. And it's not my personal opinion. It is partly, but it's me hearing Joe Biden say global famine. It's me looking at theweek.com, looming catastrophe of global food shortage. What I can't stand is when people take clips from my show and attribute to me the opinions of better men. That is to say, there are many much smarter people than me saying these things. I only read them and go, whoa. I mean, if these economists and world leaders are saying this, I'll take it seriously. But then when the economists or world leaders are off, wrong, or right, people just be like, look at what Tim Pool said. He was right about this. He was wrong about this. And I'm like, yo, for the most part, I'm a milquetoast fence sitter. I'm reading the news and they're telling us this stuff's going to happen. And then you have regular people who you'd think would be reading the news and they don't read it. They don't read the news. And so they're late to the party. Don't be late to the party. You know what worries me? Worries me is people spending money they don't have on emergency food to put in their closet, and then they never use it. What worries me more is the videos we see out of China and, specifically Shanghai, where people are screaming out of their balconies, locked down, unable to go outside. I said last year that I thought hard lockdowns would come back. Then all of a sudden, COVID started ending. Luke Rudkowski of We Are Change on Timcast IRL said, lockdowns are going to end. We're not going to see lockdowns again. They're going to try and claim victory, and I disagreed. Then earlier this year, we started to see the lockdowns subside, and I said, you know what, I was wrong. Luke was right. They're easing up the lockdowns. It's all coming to an end. Now we're seeing this. We have the story from WABE.org. This is 26 million people in Shanghai are locked down due to a surge in COVID cases. What are the chances that comes here to the United States? The Democrats want to win. They've got the polls against them. Well, what if we get locked down again? And they say, oh, we need all of that mail-in voting. It's the only way for people to vote now. Oh, it's COVID. It's back. Look at China. You see? Maybe. I really don't know. You decide based on what you think's happening. For all I know, there won't be a food shortage. It'll affect everybody else. And we're rich Americans and we're going to eat to our heart's content. In fact, I got a plate of food just to my left of salami and cheeses, courtesy of the Daily Wire crew. Thank you very much, guys. And keeping us well fed out here. Maybe Americans are fat and happy. We got fat homeless people. Maybe we won't have these problems. I talk about this food stuff, the emergency food supplies, because I'm like, you should just have some. Me personally, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I bought a lot more. I often talk about how we have emergency supplies. And considering the amount of employees we have, it's not really that much. It's a lot for any one person. But for the company, it's like, we've got some food, So I bought more. Because I would rather be able to keep the machine churning. It's not just about having internet backups, having fuel backups, having electric cars, having solar chargers. Self-reliance, man. And so I stocked up. We're staying at a hotel out here. It's really nice. It's a really nice hotel. We're staying at a really nice room in a really nice hotel. And there are signs everywhere saying, due to the labor shortage, they can't provide certain things. We have no housekeeping. None. They just don't do it. No fresh towels. You have to just go down and request new towels. No room service, no minibar. And that's the crazy thing about the minibars where you make money. Nope, not here. No minibar. Nobody can restock it, so we don't have anybody to work. I went down and I said, do you guys do coffee service? Like sometimes they'll bring the coffee up to your room. And they were like, we can bring coffee to your room. And I was like, oh, awesome. Because they'll give you a fresh pot of coffee. You know, if you stayed at a hotel, you've had it. And they'll give you a little thin cream. I hear a knock on the door. There they are. I'm like, oh, finally. Open the door. Guy hands me a bag. A bag. Okay. Plastic bag. I look at it. Coffee Mate individual creamer cups and Keurig cups for our Keurig machine. And I went, yo. And we're staying at the nice hotel. The reason for all of this is because we never recovered from COVID. We never recovered from the lockdowns. Prices are skyrocketing. There are some right now in the crypto community that are saying true inflation, there's this crypto chain tracking for inflation is showing something like 14% inflation. Food is up, I think, like 25% or something like that, according to these people. We do know that food is skyrocketing. We know that in Congress, I think it was Pelosi, passed a 21% budget increase. I think things are going to get bad. How bad, though? I suppose if it happens slowly enough, people are used to it. Because if we were to judge this year by 2019, it's really bad. It's so bad. But we're resilient. We're well fed. So how bad is it really? That's the main issue. In 2019, best numbers of our lives. That's what we heard. The economy was roaring. People were saying they were making tons of money. Then COVID hit, and all of a sudden things got bad, and they've been bad ever since. Gas prices are through the roof. Joe Biden's making it worse. There was a story out of, I think, Philly, where a guy got arrested for putting "I did that" stickers on gas pumps. Man. But right now we're seeing things get truly bad, and it's scary what some of these videos are. Video taken of people screaming. I don't think you can... You probably can't hear it all that well. We got to get the audio set up better. It's just screaming. Screaming. Take a look at this story. This is from August 25th, 2020. When I saw that video, I was like, this has got to be someone just reposting the same video. China's Xinjiang residents yell from balconies as strict coronavirus lockdown drags on. I hope you don't live in a city. I don't know where you go. I don't want to live in a city. Some cities are better than others. Let's be real. You know, right now we're in Nashville. Nashville's not so big. And the downtown area, it's amazing. Seriously, the best downtown I have ever been to, Nashville. The live music everywhere. We went to one place. I was in an arcade and I won a giant lollipop. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. New York, boring. Chicago, boring. LA, doesn't even have a downtown. Nashville's fun. But I still wouldn't want to be in any one of these cities. Maybe close enough, but not too close. Where we operate out of typically, because right now we're at the Daily Wire headquarters, we operate out about 50, 60 miles west of DC. And so it's mountains, trees, open road. And I much prefer to be out there. Because if something really bad happens, people are going to pour out of these cities. And I got to say, man, I don't think you see... I think you ain't seen nothing yet. I don't have all the answers. I really, really don't. Take a look at this. JetBlue will slash number of summer flights by 10% as airline is hit by staff shortages, while Alaska Air trims schedule by 2% because of lack of pilots. The COVID lockdown stuff never ended. Now the Russian war stuff. Everything's going to get worse. Is this, I don't know, naysaying? Is this doom casting? Maybe. If you'd prefer, I would just ignore all of these stories that are like just coming out right now, warning of all of this, or the viral videos of people screaming in China. But I see these things, and these are the things I think I would like to know about. When I see stories that are powerful and worrying, I'm like, I'm glad I saw that story. And if someone says to me something like, did you hear people screaming in the balconies of these buildings? I'd be like, no, where? Show me. I want to know. Why? What's happening? So that I can be better prepared. We are at timcast.com. We run a successful business. And part of that success comes from constantly being prepared for everything. Planning, navigating minefields. I think for that reason, we've been successful. I take a look at the other things that I've done, and maybe it's overkill. Maybe I don't need any of this emergency food. We've never needed to use it. That's the reality. I've ordered a bunch of food. We've eaten some of it for fun. Because we wanted to try it out. We also got MREs, but MREs are fun. You know, you give someone an MR, you know, MREs are a meal ready to eat. And it's like you open it and there's like iron shavings and you put the water in it, it heats up. It's not good food, But it's fun. It's fun. And, it's what the soldiers eat. So it's fun when we get to eat it too. But you wouldn't want to do it for a long term. We've never had to use any of it throughout all of this stuff. But when it got bad, when the lockdowns got really bad, we left the Philly suburbs within a couple months. Because they were talking about shutting bridges down, locking down states, banning interstate travel, all of this stuff. And they did. Do you remember? They had warnings, like in Chicago, it said if you've come from these states, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks, you can't leave. It was soft. There wasn't harsh enforcement. Cops weren't tracking people down. But in places like Hawaii, people who didn't quarantine were actually getting arrested. There were border checkpoints between New York and Connecticut. It did happen, lest we forget. Could it happen again? Why not? I don't know if the COVID stuff will come back here, but we've got war stuff here. Mainstream corporate press is warning us about the food shortages. So do what's right for you. Pay attention to what's happening in the world. I am personally worried, but it's not going to stop me from doing my thing. I'm not going to dig a hole underground and just hide for 30 years. We're going to keep doing our thing, but we're going to make sure we're always putting that buffer in between us and disaster. For you, do what you think is right for you and your family. Many of you probably live in cities. You didn't need to leave the cities when the riots happened, though I'm sure things kind of sucked when they rioted through your towns and burned stuff down. What if it got worse? What if it got bad but not as worse? It's up to you, I guess. Me personally, I don't want to be in these cities. Take this information and do with it what you can. We're seeing in Peru food riots, food and fuel riots. Sri Lanka. Now we're seeing this in Shanghai, and there's warnings that it will come to the US. A lot of people are optimistic. But that could be an optimism bias and a normalcy bias. Take it all with a grain of salt. Figure out what makes sense for you. I'll do right by me, my friends, my family. So I'm buying emergency food as I have been. And we haven't used it yet, which could mean nothing's going to happen. We'll be fine. Maybe all that really happens is you can't get ice cream, but you can get milk. Maybe it means no more chocolate bars, but unsweetened cocoa might still be there. Or maybe there's no cocoa at all, but there'll still be milk, bread, and eggs. I don't know. Pay attention. We'll do our best to bring you the news when we can as it changes, but I'll leave it there. Thanks for hanging out. I don't know what else to add to this. It feels incomplete. It's like, what do we do with these people screaming? We take care of ourselves, our friends, and our family. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all then.